is going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on.
Tonight on Cronkite News, Trump's newest tariffs have sent shockwaves through the global economy. Tune in to find out the rippling effects it'll have on Arizona.
Plus, how cuts to the USDA is affecting local farmers, food banks, and low-income families.
And a D-back superstar is staying in the Valley for a long time. The closing bell of the Dow, which closed down nearly 1,700 points today, one day after President Trump announced sweeping tariffs. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Ben Paris.
And I'm Emily Fox-Millian. Thank you for joining us.
President Trump's aggressive tariffs against all imported goods across the world have drawn strong reaction from world leaders and economists. Certain sectors of the U.S. economy, such as retail, automotive, and industrial sectors, are bracing for price increases. President Trump, however, is confident that the operation is going successfully.
Markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal?
Supporters say these tariffs are aimed at protecting U.S. businesses, but critics warn that they could drive up prices for consumers. The baseline 10% tariff on all imports is designed to level the playing field. For Arizona, the impact could be significant, especially with Mexico, our top trading partner. Produce is already feeling the strain, with avocados and tomatoes among the items seeing price hikes, and experts say these increases will likely continue. Consumers will also see higher prices on everyday goods like clothing, many of which are made in China, Vietnam, and Cambodia. Chinese electronics, including computers and smartphones, could rise as tariffs in China rise to 34%. Tariffs will also drive up prices in the auto sector. The price of foreign cars and parts could see an increase from 20 to 40%, according to experts. However, certain industries in Arizona could benefit from exemptions. Semiconductors, for example, are exempt from the reciprocal tariffs. As these changes take effect, experts say the full economic impact will unfold in the coming months.
Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Arizona State University tells the Arizona Republic that at least 8 international students had their visas revoked. The spokesperson also says that agents from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement have been on ASU's campus. It is not clear why the visas for the ASU students were reportedly revoked, but U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has previously said that his agency has revoked hundreds of student visas for students involved in crime or for acting against U.S. interests.
Following the Trump administration's cutting of over $500 million that was supposed to go to food banks and schools, organizations across the country are bracing for the impact. Reporter Ariel Nelson spoke with St. Mary's Food Bank about what they're planning to do.
Despite the efficient assembly line, St. Mary's does more than just provide food. It also provides second chances to people who are struggling.
I remember this place called St. Mary's. I was adopted, and my parents at the time went there and get food. So that's what we did for a whole year, until one year my wife said, why don't you try to get a job there? So I got a job here.
Now Jerome Williams helps people experiencing food insecurity. The Emergency Food Assistance Program, or TFAP, provides funding to organizations like St. Mary's.
St. Mary's provides 300,000 meals per day, and because of the recent budget cuts that will be going into effect in May, organizations like St. Mary's are going to find it harder to provide the same amount of food to the people who need it.
According to the president and CEO of St. Mary's, they just found out that they won't get 30 truckloads of food that they had hoped to distribute. Despite the odds being against them, St. Mary's is determined to continue providing their usual 1.2-pound meals to the community.
Our plan is not to reduce. We are very focused on filling the gaps from our private donors and from our own purchased supply to fill this gap. In the short term, we're going to cover it, but in the long term, we may have to make some adjustments.
Despite the growing population of people struggling, Lou is passionate about ensuring the people of Arizona are fed and wants people to know that St. Mary's will not turn anyone away.
At a time when demand is rising, getting news that the amount of food available to us is decreasing is very challenging. And we're hoping that folks out there understand the importance of this issue. No American should go hungry.
In Phoenix, Ariel Nelson, Cronkite News.
A brand new mural in downtown Phoenix has just been unveiled, honoring those affected by HIV and AIDS. The mural was painted by local artists and is a memorial to those who have lost their lives. The city of Phoenix is participating in a worldwide initiative to end the spread of HIV by 2030. City officials are working to expand testing, improve access to health care, and reduce the stigma surrounding the virus. Organizers say the mural isn't just about remembering the past, it's about bringing people together to create a healthier future.
Coming up after the break, owning a home is part of the American dream.
But that dream is increasingly out of hand for many. After the break, find out why the cost of owning a home is on the rise here in Arizona.
I'm Ariel Nelson, and we're nearing 100 degrees here in the valley. Stay tuned after the break to find out more.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
For many Americans, a home is their largest financial asset and burden. As housing costs soar across the country, so does homeowners insurance. In fact, Cronkite News reporter Caitlin Humphrey tells us a new report shows that Arizona ranks in the top 3 states for highest cost increases.
According to the Consumer Federation of America, insurance companies increased premiums in 95% of zip codes across the United States from 2021 to 2024. To put that into perspective, the typical homeowner pays around $648 more a year.
Between 2021 and 2024, annual premiums across the country went up by 24% compared to an overall rate of inflation of 13%.
With a 48% hike in the past year alone, Arizona ranks 3rd in states with the highest premium percentage jump, falling right behind Utah and Illinois. But why are Arizona's rates increasing after being historically more affordable? Experts say the jump is likely due in part to natural disasters, particularly wildfires.
Places like Prescott, Payson, we've heard from consumers that are being challenged from finding insurance in the first place, which obviously then leads to reduced competition, which can lead to increased costs.
As costs continue to rise, the Consumer Federation of America says it will take regulators, the state, and homeowners to ensure that companies keep insurance costs down and protect consumers. In the newsroom, Caitlin Humphrey, Cronkite News.
Inflation and higher rebuilding costs are also adding to the rising cost of insurance. While the top story today is President Trump's tariffs, new economic data shows that unemployment numbers are a mixed bag.
The Labor Department has reported there were 6,000 fewer jobless claims last week than the week prior. The overall figure does not include federal workers and could be revised. The report also showed that it is taking people a longer time to find employment. The number of continuing claims rose to a high that has not been seen since November of 2021.
Attorneys for CVS are fighting back against a Department of Justice opioid lawsuit. Officials accused CVS of violating the Controlled Substances Act by knowingly filling invalid prescriptions. Attorneys representing CVS want the claims to be dismissed. Prosecutors have until June 4th to respond.
And extreme weather has been ravaging states in the eastern half of the U.S. Tornadoes, flooding, and extreme winds are hitting the South and Great Lakes region. The weather outbreak has already killed 5 people in Tennessee and 1 in Missouri. Dozens of tornadoes were reported across the eastern U.S. In Arkansas, twisters flipped cars and damaged homes. Weather forecasters say that Arkansas and neighboring states could see additional tornadoes and severe storms through Saturday.
The Atlantic hurricane season starts in June, and forecasters are preparing for a busy year. A group at Colorado State University suggested an above-average season with 17 named storms. The group is expecting 9 hurricanes and 4 of those to be major ones. These forecasts are estimates and not exact measures. However, the researchers base their predictions off atmospheric and oceanic conditions. While hurricanes might be East Coast weather patterns, Arizona is known for its dry and extreme heat.
Absolutely, Ben, and that heat may be coming next week. Ariel Nelson joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with what we can expect.
That's right, Emily. We're going to see some gorgeous weather coming our way this weekend. But for right now, let's take a look at the rest of the night as we've had some pretty cold weather this last week. We're going to start our evening around the mid-60s, but we're going to make our way down to 62 degrees by 10 p.m., along with a little bit of wind this evening as well. Moving on to those low temperatures across the state, as you can see, our state low is going to be 21 degrees tomorrow in the Grand Canyon, 30 degrees in Prescott, 40 degrees in Globe, and 53 degrees in Phoenix. Moving on to those high temperatures as the valley starts to warm up just a little bit. We've got 56 degrees as our high in Page, our state high at 78 degrees down here in Yuma, 62 degrees in Safford, and 73 degrees in Phoenix. Now, like I said, we're going to be warming up this weekend. So as you can see, we've got a high of 73 degrees along with some clouds tomorrow, but we're going to warm up by the end of the weekend. Moving on to the rest of the week, as you can see, by Monday, we're hitting the high 88. A high of 88 degrees, and by the end of the week, we're nearing or hitting triple digits on Thursday and Friday. Those lows are still going to be in the high 60s as well. With the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Ariel Nelson, sending it back to the desk.
Thanks, Ariel. Coming up next, even though the Final Four men's basketball tournament is in Texas, it still hits close to home.
Florida Gators head coach and Arizona native Todd Golden reached the golden spotlight in the NCAA.
I'm incredibly proud, to be able to be here in year 3 and, to get Florida back to the Final Four, is something that's incredibly special.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there in that moment. You know that you've reached them.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Paisley Poole. We start with big news announced late today from the Arizona Cardinals. Trey McBride became the highest paid tight end in NFL history after signing a 4-year, $76 million contract extension with the Cardinals, according to a team announcement. And in more big news from the Arizona Diamondbacks, star second baseman Ketel Marte has signed an extension to stay with the team until at least 2030. The 6-year, $116 million deal replaces the already existing 5-year, $76 million contract Marte signed in 2020. The new contract keeps him in Arizona until 2030 with a player option in 2031. Marte earned his second All-Star nod and finished third in NL MVP voting last year. The D-backs as a whole have been on fire, earning a series win over the New York Yankees, which is their first regular season series win at Yankee Stadium in franchise history. Zach Gallen shined in his second start, tossing 6 2/3 shutout innings with a whopping 13 strikeouts. The D-backs will head to D.C. to take on the Nationals this weekend before coming home to face the Orioles starting Monday. And then there were 4. The men's basketball tournament is heading to San Antonio for the Final Four. The Florida Gators and Auburn Tigers will face off first at 3:09 p.m. After that, Cooper Flag and the Duke Blue Devils will take on the Houston Cougars on Saturday at 5:49 p.m.
To get Florida back to the Final Four, is something that's incredibly special. And, when I was fortunate enough to get this position 3 years ago, I'm not sure this was, something that, hey, get to the Final Four by year 3, but we're awfully proud of it.
And speaking of head coach Todd Golden of the Florida Gators, he has strong ties to the Valley. Cronkite News reporter Kobe Bronstein takes a closer look at his Arizona roots and the people who shaped his journey.
The Florida Gators are set to play in the Final Four on Saturday and are led by head coach and Phoenix's own Todd Golden, a moment that hits home for those who know him best.
I could cry. I really could when I, think about what he's done. I see him jumping up and down. Oh, man, I'm jumping up and down, too.
Getting to the NCAAs with San Francisco. I thought that was going to be the greatest thing. I could never, ever have imagined coaching in the Final Four at 39 years old. That's an incredible thing. And hopefully, it's just the beginning.
Todd Golden has taken the basketball world by storm, but his playing career started here at Sunny Slope High School, helping bring home the school's first state championship in history and giving him a level of confidence that has taken him to the highest ranks.
Honestly, the funny thing is that what sticks out most is that Todd, he just seems like the same guy. His mannerisms and everything that, I can hear him yelling out there. I'm like, yeah, that just seems like the same Todd.
Golden's college coach at St. Mary's, Randy Bennett, was in attendance for the Gators' Elite 8 victory and couldn't be happier for his former captain.
After they won that thing the other day and went and cut down the nets, I'm not this guy, but I hung around for it because I don't know if it'll ever happen again where I'll have a player that's coached in the Final Four.
And now the Gators are 2 wins away from their one golden moment, led by one of the Valley's rising stars. In Phoenix, Kobe Bronstein, Cronkite News.
The Florida Gators must get past SEC rival Auburn in the Final Four before facing either Duke or Houston in the national championship. With 2 more wins, Todd Golden would become the 9th youngest head coach to win a title. Now over to the women's side of the tournament, where Texas will take on South Carolina tomorrow at 4 p.m. Arizona time. Then UConn will face UCLA at 6 p.m., and there's a familiar face on the South Carolina Gamecocks. New Grand Canyon University women's basketball coach Winston Gandy is still in the postseason run with South Carolina in the Final Four. Gandy helped the Gamecocks to a national championship win last year. GCU hired Gandy after Molly Miller signed with Arizona State. With the transfer portal playing a large role in collegiate sports, players have the freedom to move schools for opportunities in athletics. Arizona State has taken advantage of this in recent years, with a great example being this year with the acquisition of tennis player Matisse Bondas. Matt Ross has the full recruitment story of the star in the making.
Meet Matisse Bondas, a senior at Arizona State University and one of the top men's collegiate tennis players in the nation. Originally from Marseille, France, Matisse has played for 3 colleges since coming to the United States. Texas A&M, VCU, and now Arizona State. Bonda says playing at schools like ASU have given him opportunities as a student athlete.
Playing in France is great. The resources are not like here in the US. That's why I came to the US, you know, because we can have like scholarship and you can do like school and tennis in the same time. Like you go on the tour or you just go to do like school, you know, but you can do both. So here it's the perfect like fit.
Although Bonda's time at Arizona State has been brief, he has made lasting relationships and been a proven leader on the team. Doubles partner Matisse Demitz shares this sentiment.
Yeah, as a player, I think it's very professional, very good. I think off the court we get along very well. I think he's one of my best friends on the team. And as this is my last semester here, I think we're going to be good friends in the future.
After the 2023-24 season, Bonda's held the highest ranking in the transfer portal for not only the Universal Tennis ranking, but also the Intercollegiate Tennis Association, making his recruitment to Arizona State that much more special.
He was such a highly rated player that, of course, every team in the country wanted him right out of the jump. And, yeah, we're super fortunate to have him. He's been a huge asset for the program in so many ways on and off the court.
Bonda holds an impressive record this season at 7-4-4 as the #2 in singles. And with ASU's impressive double victory over Texas Tech and Oklahoma respectively, they hold 3rd in the Big 12 and have no intentions of slowing down. In Tempe, Arizona, Matt Ross, Cronkite News.
Arizona State will take on BYU later this week on Thursday before traveling out to Florida to take on UCF on Sunday. The Arizona Wildcats baseball team will head back up to Phoenix to take on the Red Hot Sun Devils for a 3-game series at Phoenix Municipal Stadium on Friday. The Sun Devils will host their arch rival while enjoying a 4-game win streak, taking down Cal State Fullerton on Tuesday and sweeping Utah last weekend. After the sweep, the Sun Devils cracked the top 25 for the first time this season, sporting a 20-9 record and 7-2 in the conference. The Wildcats are close behind, though, with a 20-8 overall record and 6-3 in the conference. The first game is set for Friday at 6:30 p.m. and will be streamed on ESPN+ as the Sun Devils look to use their home field advantage to take the first-place spot in the Big 12 ahead of Kansas. And that's it for the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Paisley Poole, sending it back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Paisley. And coming up next, a zoo in Spain just had a new birth of an endangered species.
That's right, Ben. A Malayan tapir was just born in Spain. There are only about 2,500 of them left on Earth, but today that number rose.
People have always had trouble trying to put me into a box. A professor, suit and tie is just not me. Without the ocean, I don't know what I would do. You know, the ocean's always been there for me. As Hawaiian people, we believe that the coral is the first living being to come out of the darkness. It's the foundation of our entire lifestyle, and that's what my research is about. What we do is we take photographs of the reef over long periods of time to create models that can tell us what the planet is doing. If we go deaf to what the Earth is telling us, then we'll never be able to live in harmony. If I can get my students excited about protecting the ocean, then they're the ones who are gonna really make the difference. I hope my students realize that I'm not trying to prepare them for something in the distant future. Their time is now at Arizona State University.
Everybody loves a good excursion, I'd say, especially dogs.
I think you're right, Emily. And Pup Park Shuttle is bringing dogs around Raleigh, North Carolina aboard a mini school bus. This company will transport dogs from around Raleigh to a fenced-in property, giving them plenty of room to run around and play. The company's founder says his company doesn't just have a positive impact on the dogs.
They definitely make me smile. They definitely make me happy. What also brings me joy is just the excitement that we get from the parents as well. If I was a dog, I would be super, energetic and happy as well. So these guys definitely bring that energy.
A new Malayan tapir cub was born at a zoo in Spain.
This specific tapir is an endangered species, which makes this birth a special one. Only 25 have been born in zoos in the last decade. This tapir is the first to be born in Spain. The zoo says the mother and cub will continue to stay quarantined indoors, but officials say they're doing well.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Ben Paris.
And I'm Emily Fox-Millian. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.